in Chicago, which is the home of Downbeat, not too far from now. Do you have any plans at the moment about any future engagements?
Well, about future engagements, no, not any exact plans. I guess you heard I'm breaking with my manager.
Well, as a matter of fact, I sent an item to Downbeat about that just last week.
Yes, well, I mean, after that, maybe plans can be made, but nothing special right now.
Well, let's talk about your recent trip to Europe, because I have a couple of records coming out by people you probably met over there, and I know you had a very interesting experience. It was quite a short trip, but a very eventful one. How long were you over there?
Well, I was in Scandinavia 11 days, and I was in Paris for 4 days.
Well, the Paris part was not for, actually for playing, was it? Just
a
visit?
I went down strictly for a visit.
What did you do in Scandinavia? Who was with you there?
Well, in Scandinavia, I had the pleasure of working with Roy Eldridge along with a Swedish band. It consisted of Rolf Eriksson. I guess you remember him. He was here with Woody Herman.
Oh, I certainly do.
And some of the names I can't pronounce. Anyway, there were 5 musicians with me all the while. And then Roy had his own band, and he did his thing with, and I did the things that I'm accustomed to do.
Yeah, and where is Roy Eldridge now? Is he back?
Roy's in Paris, yeah.
Uh-huh. Does he intend to come back here, or is he going to stay over indefinitely?
Well, I don't know. I think he intends to come back anyway. He has his ticket back.
Oh, well, that's good news, because we sure miss him. I got some records that he made in Paris. I want to play them on the show one day. I have one thing where he sings the blues in French. Oh, it's really something.
Yes, I think I've heard that.
Yeah? That's great. Well, while we're talking about that, how about cutting in for a moment for some music that comes from over there? James Moody is the chief musician on this next side. Did you meet him over there?
Yes, I saw him over there. I met him here first, though.
Yeah, well, did you work with him ever?
No, I haven't.
He's a very fine...
Only on the concert in 1949.
Uh-huh.
In Paris, it was.
Oh, I see. Well, this is one of the sides that he made, I believe, in Scandinavia, and the title is Blue and Moody. It's the same musicians. You know who Reinhold Svensson is?
Reinhold Svensson? Sure, I know Reinhold Svensson.
Tell me about it.
Well, he's a blind pianist. He's blonde, and he weighs about 235 or 40 pounds.
No kidding.
Very clever. Very good musician. Very jovial.
He certainly is very talented, too. He made a whole series of sides with a quintet over there. I think patterned after George Shearing, wasn't it?
Yes, that could be.
Sounds very much like it. Anyway, we have one of those sides here. They just put out an LP consisting of 8 Reinhold Svensson numbers, and I think you'll like this one. Dearly Beloved. Say one thing to that record, it has a fine surface. A lot of surface, anyway. Well, the music is good. Well, Charlie, I would like to get your opinion on something. I read a very interesting article just a few days ago in Ebony magazine under the byline of Cab Calloway. Did you read it?
Yes, Leonard, I saw such an article, and I've never read or heard of such a violent, contemptuous thing against musicians of today.
Well, that's a pretty strong statement. I think we better tell our listeners what the article is about.
Well, okay, let's tell our listeners. But let's tell them this way. If they should like to read the article, it's published in Ebony magazine under the name of Cab Calloway. The rest will speak for itself.
Well, can I go into a few details anyway? Cab Calloway says in the article, or implies in the article, that narcotics are ruining the music business, and he makes it very clear that he thinks a large number of musicians are using narcotics, and that he goes into a great number of details about the thing, which we won't go into on the air. But anyway, it's a very provocative article. Would you say that it represents the true picture of the situation?
I'd rather say that it was poorly written, poorly expressed, and poorly meant. It was just poor.
Well, that makes it pretty definite. As a matter of fact, I'm inclined to agree with you, Charlie. I think the article was perhaps badly timed and perhaps didn't go into a careful enough examination of the real facts. As a matter of fact, it quoted something that I wrote several years ago about the same subject in Esquire, and it misquoted, or rather made an incomplete quote that gave a wrong picture of my feeling about the thing. I certainly don't think that a musician necessarily plays better under the influence of any stimulus of any kind, and I'm pretty sure you agree with me, don't you?
Well, yes, I'd rather agree with you to an extent. I think you're quoting something that I once said to you.
That's right, exactly. You said that to me quite a while ago.
That's exactly right. Well, nobody's fooling themselves. Never. Anymore, anyway. We'll put it that way. And in case an investigation should be conducted, it should be done in the right way. Instead of trying to destroy musicians and their names, I don't think it's quite a good idea.
Yeah, well, I think that maybe Cab is going to think twice about whether it was a good idea to have that article appear in it.
He has already expressed his thought.
He has? You mean in the magazine?
That's exactly
true.
Right.
But I haven't talked to him since the article came out, and I'll be very interested to hear what he has to say about the musicians' reaction to that article, because there's going to be a pretty violent reaction, just as yours is.
Well, would you expect any less?
No, as a matter of fact, you're quite right. I think it's bound to cause a lot of talk, and a lot of unfavorable talk, certainly. Well, Charlie, it's been very, very good talking about all these subjects with you, and before you go, I'd like to say that as soon as you have your plans set, please come up here and tell us all about it. Tell us who your new manager is and where your new bookings will be. And, of course, as far as what your new records are, we'll be keeping in touch with that and reviewing them as they come along. And I know they'll be all A's and B's.
All right, Leonard. Thanks a lot.
That's the most incredible of interviews. Clearly, the moment that, if you were listening closely, that is most devastatingly striking is when Leonard Feather states that he's been misquoted by Cab Calloway and that he has never felt, and he certainly had not stated in his article in Esquire Feathers, that musicians play better on narcotics, and then asked Bird to go along with that statement to sort of echo his A, correction, and B, his restatement of what he really had said initially. And Bird now asked to denounce a way of life that unfortunately had encroached him to such a large degree that he would die at the age of 34. And Bird, who supposedly was able to very quickly, conveniently white lie whenever he needed to on a gig scene or in any of the other worlds he took part in, is here on the air, and all he can do is, well, Leonard.
17 years old, you were on an automobile trip,
Yeah,
and you got in an accident.
yeah.
And was that in Kansas City?
That was good. That was between Kansas City and Jeff City, Missouri.
Oh, playing a gig or something?
Yeah, we were going on a Thanksgiving gig.
Oh, I see.
And there was an accident.
And what happened? You broke how many ribs?
I broke 3 ribs. I had a spine fracture.
That's an awful thing to happen to you at that age, you know?
Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, everybody was so afraid that I wouldn't walk erect no more, but everything was all right. And,
Well, look, what happened? You say then you got a job
yeah.
and you studied
In Jefferson, yeah.
in Jefferson?
I got a job in this place where he owned. But prior to that, this is when they were laughing at me. I knew how to play, I learned the scale, and I learned how to play 2 tunes in a certain key, in the key of D, where you saxophone F concert.
Yeah.
I learned how to play the first 8 bars of Lazy River, and I knew the complete tune of Honeysuckle Rose. I didn't ever stop to think about there was other keys or nothing like that. So I took my horn out to this joint, where guys, a bunch of fellas who I had seen around where, and the first thing they started playing was Body and Soul, long beat, you know, like this.
Oh, yeah.
So I go to playing my Honeysuckle Rose, and ain't no formal commemoration, you know, so they laughed me off the bandstand. They laughed at me so hard.
How old were you then?
I was just along around the same time, 16, 17.
Before the accident?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
about a year before that.
Well, where did you get your sax then?
Well, my mother bought me a horn for, years before that, but I wasn't interested in it. I wasn't ready for it then. I didn't get interested in horns like I got interested in the baritone horn when I was in high school. But I'd had the saxophone for a few years.
Where'd you go to high school, Charlie?
Kansas City, Missouri. I went to Lincoln.
In Kansas City?
Yeah.
Did you play in the high school marching band?
Mm-hmm.
Did you play in that? Did they have a symphony band in the high school?
They had what they call a symphony band,
Did
yeah.
you play in that too?
Yeah.
And baritone and both?
Baritone horn, that's right.
And you'd learn Honeysuckle Rose, and you'd learn the first 8 bars of which tune was it?
Up the Lazy River.
Lazy River. And you were just innocent enough so when you walked
I
in,
never thought about the game, more keys, you know?
and you played it all in what key was it? In the F.
D for saxophone.
In D for the fence. Oh, what a story. What a slaughter of the innocent.
They just murdered it, too. Oh, boy.
Who did you play with? I mean, what band did you walk in on with that?
Well, there was a band working in a joint. There was a bunch of young fellas that had a band around Kansas City. It was Jimmy Keith's band then, so Keith and the piano player, Robert Wilson, and James Ross, and Shipley Gavan. That's the fellow's name. He was working at this club in Kansas City.
Well, so after that, you decided, I'm going home and work it out?
Yeah, that's been, I knew I had to figure it out then. Yeah. I knew then it must be figured out some kind of way. What was it?
And then you went back. It was only, what, 2 or 3 months then that you worked?
Yeah, I was away about 2 or 3 months.
And then where did you go when you say you're away? Were you outside of Kansas City?
Yeah, that's where I was on this job. I was down there. The name of the town was Eldon, Missouri. It's about...
Eldon, E-L-D-O-N?
Yeah, it's about 35 miles from Jefferson City.
Oh, I see. And did you play a job there, or was it a...
Yeah, it was a job. It's a resort, a summer resort. After doing the summer months from about June to August, something like that.
And that was where you had the chance to study while you were playing.
Yeah.
Bird bought his tennis horn.
Yeah. Yeah, he got an iPhone.
How old is he now?
14.
14?
Yeah.
Does he play with it now?
He hadn't had one before I bought that now, you know. He made him bring him to the dance and thing before he sat around and listened to me. It shows a lot of fun having a son that old, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a child that old. I know I used to.
It's only 12 years old. He's a lot of fun, too. She plays the C melody when I'm not looking. They never had these C melody taxes, did they, when you were...
Yeah, they were more popular then than now.
Were they?
Sure, 32, 33. Those gallon bottle was just getting popular then. That's what he was using. You know?
Remember Frankie Trumbaugh was playing C melody?
Barney, the garage boy, is just beginning to get interested in the clarinet now. After all this time, he's been wanting to play the clarinet.
How old is Barney?
I guess he's about 22 or so. He was in the Navy for 3 years or so.
Are you going to put me in school, music school, anything?
Yeah, right away.
Would you?
Right, we go to school right together. We're taking the transfer when we go to school together, music school, Academy of Music, yeah.
Charlie, what do you remember of your father? Was he around when you were growing up?
Some of the time. He died when I was, when I was married and the baby was born.
What sort of work was he in? What was he doing?
He was like, in his active years, he was a waiter on a train, kind of thing. Came up from Kansas City, Chicago, Los Angeles, back Florida, back Texas.
That's different.
He sure was a well-tutored guy. He spoke 2-3 languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he play any instrument?
No. He was a dancer in his real young years.
Really?
Yeah. on the circus on TOV line, the Ringling Brothers.
No kidding.
What was he on? Was he on TLBA?
Yeah.
For
That was the
heaven's
circus,
sake.
yeah. You remember that old circus, do you?
TLBA?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
That was
Years ago, I heard about that.
Yeah.
During the old Keith Harking circuit days. It was dying out then. Late 20s.
And he met your mother in Kansas City?
Yeah, they met in Kansas City.
And how's your mother now? She's still alive, isn't she?
Yeah, she's very much alive.
Is she?
Fine, yeah.
She got a lot of energy.
Yeah, she just graduated from nursing school a couple of months ago.
No.
No kidding.
Yeah. I got the stuff at home, the invitation from I sent her a watch.
How old is she?
I bought her out at 62.
How old did you say?
62 years old. 62.
Wonderful.
And graduated from nursing school.
That's marvelous.
And she's active as can be, man. She don't look at her acting at all, you know?
Wow.
I mean, she's spry than me, you know. She's very seldom ill, you know? She lives in that good climate and country. She takes good care of herself. She owns her own home. That's very well, pretty well situated.
Do you have any brothers and sisters, Charlie?
I got a brother,
Older or younger?
older.
Got an older brother.
Yeah.
Did he ever play any instrument?
No. He's a mail inspector at the post office in Kansas City.
Oh. And no sisters. Hi, you know. Well, your mother's a very, very energetic, lively person, huh? Think, maybe that's where you got your spirit and son, you know?
I guess so.
Your dad was a dancer. See, that has the rhythm, though. That could explain part of that, you know?
Yeah, he's never.
The first rhythms you ever played, though, on the baritone horn were the marching band rhythms, weren't they? 4/4.
This is where it was when I first went to high school. I was interested in music, you know. So they gave me one of these alto horns, you know. Poop, 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 poop.
Brass, steel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So then I like the baritone horn when my successor graduated. I went right in, you know. What's the name graduated? The baritone player before me graduated. I took the horn. Yeah.
Well, is that a big brass horn that goes, not like a tuba?
No, it isn't as big as a tuba. It's got 3 valves. It's between a tuba and an alto horn. It's pretty big. And you hold it, you know, like this.
I can't figure you playing that. When did you get on reed then? When your mother gave you the saxophone, no?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had the saxophone then, but it was loaned out.
Oh.
A friend of mine was playing saxophone at the time. He had a band, so he borrowed the horn. He kept it over 2 years, too. He kept it maybe a year after I got out of high school. I got out of high school at 35. And,
A year after I did.
yeah. And, the gang of things happened that year. I got the horn. Got married.
Let's see, when were you born? What was you? You were born in what, 1920? 20. Boy, you're awful recent. Born in 1980.
A whole lot of speed back then.